we are opening with a bang and a double bang because we were very excited to have Lance, and then we just found out that Karina was going to be on too. So we were like, yes, woo. So welcome. Thank you guys so much. We are big fans of y'all's, and I know everybody is. So thanks for kicking us off.
Absolutely. Our pleasure.
You bet.
Have y'all had a good year? I know you have. That's a loaded question.
Well, the year didn't start out that great.
It's been an interesting year for all of us, right?
Yeah, we were definitely behind goal in January, February, and March, and then the pandemic hit, and that threw us for another tailspin. And there was a couple of anxious weeks and days in the middle to end of March as well as April, and then things started to ease up a little bit, and we were able to shift our focus from day to day to week to month, and then the floodgates opened, and we're now we've done more business than we did last year, and we're in the middle of October, and so we still have 2.5 months to exceed last year's numbers, so we're excited about that.
That is awesome. So, okay, why don't you guys just start by telling everybody, for those of you that do not maybe know you that are watching right now, because we opened this up to everybody, not just Keller Williams agents, but everybody. Maybe a little bit about your team, just how long you've been in business, either last year's stats or this year's stats, whatever you would prefer.
Yeah. Well, so we got in business. We started our team in January of 2011. And we've grown over, we're about to hit our 10-year anniversary, which is super exciting. It's hard to believe that we've been building the team and it's only been 10 years because it's just gone like so fast. And we're at 87 strong. And do you want to give our stats for last year?
Sure. Last year we did 2,354 transactions for 628 million and 8.6 million in GCI. This year we're on track to do about 2,650 transactions for close to 675 million, and we'll be above 10 million in GCI. We're still figuring out those numbers yet.
And, you know, we start with like the team and the team number, because this was not something that was done by one person, 2 people, or 10 people, right? This was really, truly a team effort, and everybody has just plugged in so much this year. And especially like Lance said, we had those couple of wobbly weeks, and just to watch a team just together, like really hold each other up, support each other, and make sure everybody can be equally successful. It's been really awesome.
So you guys are gonna actually do more than you did last year, even during the pandemic.
Yes, we will.
That is incredible.
We've already exceeded last year's numbers through the middle of October. So whatever we get from now until the end of the year will be exceeded.
That is awesome. So, okay, will you guys talk a little bit about business planning, because I don't know anybody else we could better learn from. And I know you have your whole book and your shirt and your whole 9 yards. So just share with us anything that you can. We're here to learn.
Well, what was interesting this year versus every other year, because every other year we've done our planning events in one day, and it's been an 8 to 10 hour event. Starting at 8 o'clock in the morning, we get breakfast for everybody at around 7:30. People start rolling in, and then we start sharp at 8 o'clock, and it goes until 5 o'clock p.m. And then we do a happy hour afterwards, and you know,
we're ready by then.
Yeah, it's a lot of relief and everything. That's how we did it in the past. This year, everybody's working remotely, and we made the decision in the middle of August that everybody was going to work remotely through January or through the end of the year, and come back in person starting in January. So as everybody loves Zoom calls, we knew that was going to be a challenge if we did an 8-hour day on Zoom. So we made the decision of breaking it out into 2-hour segments, and we covered the entire month of September for our planning events. And it's actually worked out really, really well. And then in August, we read a book. You want to talk about that? The experience?
Yeah.
So Lance, did I hear you say that you guys made the decision? So you're still virtual all through the end of the year, right?
Yes.
Okay.
When part of that decision was because we still have a lot of families with kids that are part virtual in school, part in person, right? And we didn't want to create a space where we were having any members of our team not being able to fully participate in anything that we did. And it was like every few weeks we were going, well, how long are we going to do this for? And so it gave everybody a little bit, I think, of a piece of just comfort of knowing like, I have this for the next few months. I don't have to think about that detail right now. And I can put a plan in place for my family and for my work life and make sure that, I've got my schedule set.
And
I love that.
the team had already chosen to be accountable at such a high level that they were performing at record-breaking numbers working remotely. And so as much as we want everybody to be together and continue with the culture, people were performing. And so we were like,
Right.
Give them this opportunity, especially with the pandemic happening and so many moms having to deal with children, whether working remotely and having school remotely or in person. It just gave them the satisfaction.
Well, and I mean, for us, the name of the game was how do we relieve any unnecessary stress for the folks in our organization so that they really could focus in their work when it was work time, right? And still have some of the family balance. We have so much stress in our lives anyhow, we don't need to add any more to it. So if there is any way that we could relieve that, we even looked at like for the kids that weren't able to go back to in-person school, was there any kind of solution we could create, for those families to go in together on something? I mean, we just looked at every option. But I think the other thing about our planning advance, just to kind of get us back to that, is every year we've also included every member of the team in our planning advance. So, I mean, literally from the very beginning, it didn't matter if there were 4 of us or now that there's 87 of us. And each year, like Lance was talking, when we've done this all in one big room, we've literally gotten everybody together and done our plan together. And so we're not just achieving together, we're actually creating the plan together too. And that was one really important thing this year for us to make a plan and lay out like even the format of how everybody was going to be able to be fully participatory.
I was hoping that you would actually share that.
Yeah, so everything kicked off in August, actually. We got everybody to read a book together called The Experience by Bruce Leffler. And the experience focuses on Disney World. And our goal is to emulate an experience such like what Disney has or what Four Seasons Resorts, Ritz-Carlton, the new standard. And so everybody read the book. And then we had our director of client experience on a weekly basis provide us with a summary, about a 15-minute summary of different parts of the book, because there's many people that don't enjoy reading books, but they do want to know and learn. And so we had her give that summary, and that was highly effective and very positive response.
Yeah, so that was before the actual retreat. Everyone read the book and you guys built up to it. Okay.
Right. It was a great way to just like what you just said, to build up to and have, everybody really kind of in that same frame of mind walking into it and level the playing field, so to speak, that we were all speaking somewhat the same language as far as this topic went. And each year for our planning advance, we've always narrowed in on what's going to be our one big goal every year. And we've used the GPS tool with our team for planning and to really just map out a business plan, which with last year we had almost 80 folks in the room, and to agree to what your one big goal and your 3 big priorities, that piece of it was a real task. And we'll tell you a little bit about what we've modified this year to try something new, and I think it worked pretty well. But that one big goal for us, it really exposes itself like mid-year. And this was the topic this year. We've been working on client experience for a couple of years now and just really looking at our processes and our systems. But it's become really evident that we also need to dig in and be more attentive to the relationships as we're watching, how much referral business we're getting, how much repeat business we're getting. And Gary gave some really amazing stats. Was it last year at Family Reunion too? And it's like, wow, this is showing up already and it's only February, right? So, that big goal for us was a pretty easy thing to identify, I think, for the whole team.
And
that was your one thing, the experience, right? Yeah, clearly.
And we need to make it measurable and smart, right? So it was interesting as we were going through the book, Jamie was articulating really well on key points of it. And one of the points was our goal is to have 97% rating. of our client experience feedback from surveys. And we've been working on this the last, I believe, 3 years. We wanted client experience to be a focus about 3 years ago. And so we've been gradually increasing our numbers. We're currently at 96.33. So we're really close to 97. So to make that or even 98% as the goal for this year, that wasn't really resonating with us. But what Jamie showed on the screen, and it was like a wow moment, is she said in Fort Wilderness, they have a client experience rating, which says how many 5-star ratings are they getting out of all the ratings that they get. And their number is 77%. And that is the new standard of what is amazing. So 77% of the people that attend Disney give 5-star ratings. And that was like, wow, that is really cool. So then she said, our TLG experience rating is currently at 80.3%. And we're like, wow, that's even better than Fort Wilderness and Disney. That's cool. What would it look like if we made our G be 90%? And so that's what we did. Our 2021 exceptional experience score goal, or G, is 90%. And that's how we came about with the G.
Yeah, so rather than averaging all of our however many stars together, right, from each of the different experiences, we're just looking at the percent of 5 stars that we're getting. And if it's even a 4, it's out of the pile. So that's, you know, that percentage of 5 stars is the goal to get us to 90%, that of 90% of our surveys, that's what we achieve.
That is awesome. Okay, so let me go back for 1 second. So if someone were to say making their, I'm trying to take notes too, making their one thing, the creating the experience, which is something Gary's been telling us to do for a while, like you said, how else would they make it measurable? Or did you guys do anything else to make it measurable? Or that was your singular measurable? Was
the G, our goal, our big one thing for next year is to have 90% of all the surveys that we get back are 5-star reviews.
Okay, perfect. And then you just set up the steps to make that happen.
And then we'll do the P's and the S's, which we can go through.
Yep, perfect. Oh yeah, okay, that would be great. Go ahead, Preston.
I have a quick question on that, because I could see some team owners being like, oh my gosh, like normally your G is units or volume. You guys are making it a percentage, and it's right. Something that doesn't feel like what you would normally do. How are you handling that? Like, how do you guys change your thinking around that? And you just, because I know you guys, and you know that the results are just going to show up, but I'm curious your thought process on it.
I think part of it starts with having everybody involved, right? So throughout the entire process, and like we said, every year, you know, our entire team knows, even coming in, you know, we've had some folks, that's like their first month with TLG ends up to be when we do our planning advance. And it's just a known fact that everybody is going to be part of planning what this big goal is. And we, like this year, we did a little different because we were, you know, decentralized. We couldn't just like raise your hand and do a quick vote. And so we did some voting stages in between the weeks. And everybody was really bought into that goal, honestly, because they were a part of creating it. I think it starts with that.
That, and we've evolved as well. We used to be so focused on transactions and number of units that we sell, and we've grown up a little bit. You know, now we're focused on providing an incredible experience for our clients. We want to be known. Like, I have a favorite story that I've told a few times, but our VP of marketing 2 years ago went to this restaurant and had an amazing experience and talked about it the entire time. And from beginning to end, even the valet, when she left the restaurant, they said her name and said, "Hope you enjoyed your evening." The following morning, she got an email survey to let them know that they really appreciated that they came out and asked for a survey. And then an hour after that, she got a phone call from the restaurant and said, "Hey, just how was your experience?" And somebody in our audience said, "So what restaurant did you go to?" And she told them, and they go, "Well, of course you went to that restaurant. That, of course." And I stood up from the back of the room and I said, what would it look like if a bunch of people are sitting at a dining room table talking about their recent real estate experience and how amazing it was, and somebody said, "Who did you use?" And they go, "Well, we used the Loken Group." And everybody at the table goes, "Of course you did." So that's what we want to get to. That's the stage that we want to get to. So we've evolved from being transactional based into providing an exceptional experience.
You know, oh, sorry, Karina. I was just gonna say, it's funny, you kind of hear that frequently. You hear bigger producing teams who are very transactionally based in the beginning, and then your mindset and your one thing switches to be more about your people. I love this. This is all down my alley. And also, I did just hear a study on John Maxwell talking about the importance of calling people by name. So, Lance, when you said that, I was like, man, that's so good. That's what she remembered.
Exactly. Well, and we're huge Simon Sinek fans.
Yeah.
Oh, so go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, one of the first weeks of our planning advance, we listened to a podcast that we shared with the team about a split in your business. And, you know, when we first got the team started, by all means, we wanted to provide exceptional experience, right? We wanted to have a relationship with most of our clients. And and we did, right? And we still are absolutely in touch, and they call us on our cell phones, right? And it's really exciting to maintain those relationships with really amazing clients over time. And as our team has grown, our goals definitely were written in volume and unit numbers, right? Those, like Press said, as the measurables. And so the language we were using, what we found, kind of, you know, hindsight's 2020, and it's the 2020 year, so how perfect for that, right? But hindsight is 2020, and looking back, you know, I don't know that there was a particular moment in time where we experienced what Simon refers to as the split in your business. But, you know, we've always cared very much about our clients. We also were really watching our transactional numbers as we grew, because it was so much easier to measure. And that became the thing we talked about the most, right? And so as an organization, we're talking units, because it's our measurable. It's how we keep score of how we're doing, and if the things we're adding into the business are working and we're seeing a difference. But it definitely kind of took us this way. And, you know, we have folks on our team. In fact, the first full-time hire we ever made, Tara, is still with us today. And we have a lot of folks that have been with us for 6, 7, 8, and her almost now 10 years. And, you know, to hear folks on the team going, you know, sometimes it's just not quite exactly like what it was. And Simon even talked about that in the podcast. Like, everybody loves TLG, you know, that works here, and they're so loyal, and everybody's so engaged and plugged in and cares about their team members. And yet there was like that, and he said, when you start hearing that, it's like, where have we lost a focus that was? And that was a real eye opener for us, so that it's really not a difference in our focus per se, Dana. It's in the language we're using to talk about our focus. If that
Love that. Yep, total sense.
It's all still there. That's never changed.
Well, and just to take that another step further, Simon Sinek in his Start With Why, he uses Apple as an illustration. For as an example, you've got the golden circle, and in the middle is the why, and then the outer side is the how, and the outside is the what. Everybody knows what you do in business. A lot of people know how you do it. Very few people know why they do it. And Apple, they used an illustration of the methodology behind that. So we took that as well and internalized that. So now when you talk about to inspire a positive lasting impact through exceptional experiences and relationships by providing a real estate solution. So we've started with why, then went to the how, and finally with the what. And it's been awesome.
You guys I don't know if you can see this with the lighting, but,
Love that.
and it is, so we have a shares drive. It's tlgshares.com, and a copy of this is located there too. But this is Simon's golden circle. And so you can see, like, we took our mission statement and, you know, and really started talking about the how, which he talks in some of his other podcasts on values. And really, your values are your how. It's how you're showing up. It's how you're caring about your clients. It's how you're making decisions, right? And it's all really, it rises and falls on your core values for your organization. And so we just really kind of thought through, what would that wording be that we could articulate that to anybody, to a client, to, you know, one of our friends that was asking how things were going in the business, right? And that it would make sense to them too.
Yep.
So guys, the TLG shares, like, you're sharing all of this for people to go look at, right?
Yep. All you have to do is register, and you can have complete access to anything in our business. We have our list presentations, our buyer presentations, everything. and all of our planning advances are in there as well. So
That's amazing.
Oh, the best.
so that was our G, is to have 90% client experience ratings. And then our P's, usually it's a 135 for your GPS. And it was interesting, this year, we had all these different ideas for P's, and a person in our marketing department said, what would it look like if we changed it up and had only 2 P's? And she suggested to deliver exceptional internal experience and deliver exceptional external experience.
Wow.
And we do internal with our own teammates and external with our clients. So do you want to talk about that?
Well, I can. I was also reading the chat because somebody had asked a question about keeping in touch with your sphere without bombarding them with touches. I think, you know, it really is the why part, you guys. And so if I can just answer that real quick, because I think it fits here before we get into the other piece of this, right? When you've gotten really clear, and honestly, like our mission statement was very different when we started. It was taken straight as a cut and paste copy off of Lance's old resume and was like 80 to 90 words long, and nobody, including Lance or I, could ever memorize it or tell anybody else, but it worked. And honestly, like it definitely, I think, encapsulated like our why, right? The actual heart behind where we show up each day and why we do this, that never really changed. And having a 10-word mission statement or less is definitely easier to make sure you can share with others more accurately. And it's more meaningful.
Here was our old mission
Oh
statement.
my word, please don't.
Our mission is to be the superior real estate solution in the Houston market, focused on high customer satisfaction levels and committed to overachieving objectives while attaining optimal success in all facets of operations. That's a cool mission statement, isn't it?
Ready for the quiz? Do you know exactly what that just said? And we did, right? But the reality was it wasn't something that we could easily like turn around and convey. And as we've been scaling the business and growing, but back to this person's question, and I'm sorry, I don't have my sexy librarian glasses on to be able to see who's asking. Christina, you know, for us, I can say we felt a little bit the same way too in the beginning, and to really like tap into, hey, this is why I do this. And we had a couple of experiences early on with our sphere that they ended up being represented by agents that just didn't do a great job for them and or weren't even ethical, they found out later, you know, through the process. And so for us, like, we're here to serve and make sure that people get exceptional experience, right? Like even from the early days. And so to know that's why we're having those conversations with our sphere, that makes it really easy to not feel like you're bugging them, right? Because for us, like we're on a mission, right? That's the mission, is to make sure everybody gets really well represented in the real estate transaction. So I hope that helps answer that question.
The piece.
I think that was great. Yes. Thank you for answering that too.
So the piece that Lance was talking about that we created, you know, we had a lot of options and we kind of narrowed it down. We had the team give their input. We went back and kind of consolidated everything that was there. And like you said, one of the gals from our marketing department kind of said, you know what, everything we've talked about really looks like this external client experience and internal client experience. And we really feel like the internal client experience needs to come first, because for our team, how happy they are, how fulfilled they are in what they do, how in alignment they are, honestly, and it starts with hiring, you know, how in alignment they are with the ship and where the ship is sailing and how the ship is going to get there. You know, if we're all wanting to go the same direction and get there together the same way, motivation is never an issue, right? And so that just is going to spill out into how we're taking care of our clients and providing that exceptional experience and wanting to go the extra mile for them when we are feeling that we're going the extra mile for each other.
And we broke this down week by week. So the first week we came up with our G, and then the second week we came up with the 2 Ps, and then we had a keynote speaker that focused on client experience. And then the last week we focused on our S's, the strategies in order to achieve the priorities to ultimately achieve 90%. And that ultimately is how we did our entire planning advance. It lasted 4 weeks and was amazing.
Okay, that was actually my question. This wasn't like a one day, everybody get in a room and let's have a retreat. This was like a real deal, 4 weeks, you broke it out.
It was 4 2-hour sessions on Zoom each week.
Love it.
I also think it's important to note that you guys don't, most people set goals in January, right? And then they're done with them by February. You guys actually set goals in September, October. Can you just share real briefly why?
Sure. We set them in September, and well, actually, we do everything bottoms up. So we found out what each team member wanted to achieve and rolled those numbers up. And then we knew what gap we had to fill in order to hit the ultimate figure for next year. And then we start our year for 2021 on October 1st, because any lead generating you do on October 1st is going to equate into closings in January. And so our inside sales agents, they knew their new goals, they knew the numbers that they were expected to hit. And they started October 1st, and we've already got, I believe, 24 closings for 2021. And we're at October 14th. So we really take that to heart, and everybody's already in 2021 mode.
That's awesome. So, sadly, we have 2 minutes. And I'm like, this needed to be like a half a day. So we did get one question, and that came through just now that said, exceptional experience can be a buzzword or fluffy. How are you doing it tangibly each day, each transaction? I think that's a good question. So do you want to, Karina, take that one?
I would love to, because this just happened last night. So one of our goals actually for this year in 2020 was to do focus groups and really ask our clients what they would expect out of a great transaction. And as we've been studying the experience and really, getting to a place where we're like, no, wait a minute, we don't want to be great, right? Like, we want to be that 1% that's exceptional. And
It's actually 3%.
It is 3%. And so for us, we wanted to find out what exceptional looked like. And of course, this little thing we've had this year called COVID, put a little damper on us getting focus groups together. And so over the past couple months, we've been working to just find a solution how we can do that virtually and in a really effective way. And so last night, we actually had our very first virtual focus group with clients. We were not necessarily all, 5 stars or a 10 plus with all of them. And the whole goal was to find out from them, not even really about their transaction with us, but what their expectations are of exceptional, right? And it was really, really powerful. And it was so interesting, you guys, because as much as we've been talking about, developing relationships with our clients, that came up without even asking. I hadn't even gotten to the what would you question to look like. The question before, they already were just like, overflowing with different things and different experiences they've had that they would consider exceptional. And it was all relationship based. It was that their agent or their lender or their carpenter or, their banker, whoever it was, knew something about them that was important, took that into consideration in the advice that they were giving, and like really, truly cared about them and put them first. So it was really enlightening. We have a whole bunch more of these focus groups planned, but that's honestly how we're monitoring that, because we don't want to guess.
That is a great idea.
Yeah. And the next book that we're going to read as an organization is The Power of Moments. And
good one. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we're doing is we're trying to highlight a specific moment throughout the transaction. And for the list side, we decided that moment would be the day that the home is activated on the market. And on the buy side, it's the day that the contract is executed. And so we're going to build everything around those two moments. And it says in that book, don't focus on the gaps of all the people that are having negative experiences. Focus on the people that are having positive experiences. And what can you do to raise the bar there? Because those are the people that are going to repeatedly come back, and they're going to toot your horn to the highest level.
Yeah, that is awesome, man. Oh gosh, I still have so many questions, and we're 2 minutes past. Okay, but really fast, how many people were in your focus group? Just because I'm curious.
Last evening there were, I think, a total of 9. And
okay, so you're
with
keeping
the exception of one gal, the others were couples.
Wow. Okay. Love it. Yep. Love that. Love that. Love that. Okay. Well, this is awesome. Okay. Is there anything that you should share that you didn't get to share in like the next 30 seconds about the whole planning?
To include the entire organization, include your entire group, because when you collaborate, you tend to be successful in your goals for the year. If you dictate everything, they don't have buy-in, and so it doesn't resonate with them. And we've been doing this every year, and it's really been beneficial to us.
Yeah, and for us, even in the very beginning, our very first business planning was to sit down and write our mission, vision, values. And we've embedded that in everything I think we've said today. But if you're at the very, very beginning of business planning, or you're 10 years in the business and you've just not ever sat down and gotten this much clarity around what you're doing and where you're going, start there, get really clear on your mission, vision, values, listen to some of those Simon Sinek podcasts, or read his book, Start With Why. That's been a huge help for us. And once you have clarity there, all of your decisions get so much easier.
Awesome. You guys are awesome. Press, go ahead. I was going to say, we're getting so many people saying we need a round 2.
We need round 2, everyone says. Yeah, I was just going to say, what I love hearing out of this is y'all's business has evolved over time.
Yeah.
Y'all, and mostly it's probably because the two of you have evolved over time in your level of thinking and what truly matters in the business and what matters to your people, to your clients. So I think the best advice that anyone could have on this is just start somewhere. Because I'm sure the first one that y'all did was the two of you together in a room, right? Like you said, writing your MVVBP. So, start small, start simple, and your business will evolve over time as you do.
For sure.
I'm laughing in the chat. I could not agree more. Robert said, you two should go on tour. Come to Ohio Valley first when you do.
Anytime.
Thank you,
Ready to
guys.
travel.
Thank y'all so much. We appreciate you.
Our
You bet.
pleasure. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks, guys.
you.
Good to see y'all.
Y'all too. Thank you. Thank you.